The mistress called to say my husband has kidney failure and needs a transplant. I contacted the hospital to withdraw treatment. The mistress panicked. But he's your husband. I remained indifferent and began preparing for his funeral. She doesn't know I've been reborn, in my past life. I signed the kidney donation papers without hesitation, only to find out it was for my husband's mistress. After the mistress recovered, she conspired with my husband to kill me in a staged car accident. When I opened my eyes again, the mistress called. I immediately transferred the call to the funeral home. Seeing his mistress critically ill, the husband grew frantic. Sign quickly, your husband's condition can't wait any longer. I clenched my fists as I looked at this smiling tiger. In my past life, he took money from my husband Joel's son and forged Joel's son's medical records to show kidney failure. I burst into tears of joy after the successful match and immediately signed the kidney donation consent form. If I could do it all over again, I would never sign that document. When Dr. Lynn handed me the consent form again, I covered my mouth and rushed out, retching, I'm not feeling well. I deliberately slammed the chair onto Dr. Lynn's foot, and his scream echoed through the room. Let him call his mother to report the situation. The stage is set, how could the actors be missing, in my past life? I only realized Joel's son wasn't sick at all after losing my kidney. My kidney was given to his beloved mistress, Lexi Liang. Heartbroken upon learning the truth, I threw the divorce papers in front of him. This house is my premarital property. Take your filthy things and get out now. Joel's son readily agreed, wearing a look of remorse, and we made plans to divorce the next day, but on the way to the divorce, the brakes suddenly failed. My car crashed through the bridge railing and plunged into the surging river, the waters instantly swallowing me whole. My soul caught a distant glimpse of Lexi Liang's car, her face brimming with smugness as she sneered mockingly. That foolish woman really thinks she can walk away with the assets in the divorce. Joel's son pulled Lexi Liang into his embrace, his large hand stroking her thigh, his eyes filled with greed. What does it matter if she knows the truth? We tampered with her brakes a month ago. Now that she's dead, the money and the house are all ours. Haha, it felt as if my heart had been brutally stabbed, bleeding profusely. My beloved husband and the fake cousin I had cared for so attentively had always wanted me dead. Watching their smug, triumphant faces, I angrily reached out to strangle them, but could only pass through. Watching the two of them kiss sweetly, I roared helplessly, Joel's son, Lexi Liang, I curse you to die a horrible death. I shed tears of blood, but could only watch as Joel's son quickly cremated my body and sold the wrecked car. The two used my money to prepare for their wedding and moved into my house. They even spread rumors everywhere about my chaotic private life, making everyone despise me. Perhaps my resentment was too deep, as it actually brought me back to before I donated my kidney, suppressing the surging hatred in my eyes. I transferred a sum of money to the private investigator and walked step by step toward the hospital room. This time, it's my turn to play with them. Joel's son lay weakly in the ICU bed, his body connected to various tubes. Tears welled up in his eyes as he looked at me, his gaze filled with pain and pleading. Through the viewing window, he struggled to open his mouth and groaned in agony. Maya, I'm in so much pain. Have you seen Dr. Lee yet? As he spoke, the thick layer of foundation on his face flaked off in tiny particles due to the slight tremors of his facial muscles. A surge of hatred welled up in my heart. How could I have failed to see through his pathetic disguise in my past life? To keep me at a distance, he really went all out. Checking himself into a private ICU room, I despised myself for being blinded by love, and even more, I loathed Joel's son, that scumbag worse than swine or dogs. I am 3 years older than Joel's son. So when he pursued me, I immediately rejected him, but he didn't give up, his face beaming with enthusiasm, his eyes full of concern. Maya, your favorite pure milk and eggs, you're too thin, you need to eat more. This is the backpack I made for you myself. Do you like it? It's going to rain tomorrow. I'll pick you up, it's getting cold. I knitted a scarf for you. He gradually made his way into my heart. After my father passed away from illness, he was the only one who stayed by my side. So we got married right after he graduated, and he continued to take meticulous care of me after our marriage. I thought I had chosen the right person, but after learning the truth, I realized I had misjudged him from the very beginning. He doesn't value me, but the house and money my father left me. Seeing me stunned, he raised his voice to call me. Maya, I'm sorry, we had planned a trip to the island, but now I can't go with you. He looked guilty, just like he acted after my death. In my previous life, at the funeral, he held my ashes and wept uncontrollably. Maya, how could you just die like this? What am I supposed to do without you? I told you I didn't mind your affair. Why did you have to take your own life so rashly? His heartbroken appearance, with those words, nailed me to the pillar of shame. They even hired someone to pretend to be my affair partner, causing a scene at the funeral and deliberately accidentally knocking over the urn. The last remaining proof of my existence in this world was scattered into the filthy saw. Maya, why haven't you signed yet? My mother-in-law's sharp questioning snapped me out of my memories. She stormed up to me with the kidney donation consent form in hand. Sign this now. As she spoke, she signaled for my father-in-law to grab my hand and force the signature. The two of them restrained me, about to sign my name. The doctor said Joel doesn't have much time left. Hurry up and sign. I won't sign. I pushed them away abruptly and took the chance to give her a hard pinch on the waist. My mother-in-law sat on the floor wailing. What a sin, beating your own mother-in-law. Damn it, my son treated you so well, and you wouldn't even save him. A sly glint flashed in Joel's son's eyes. Mom, don't pressure Maya. He gazed at me with deep affection. Maya, even if you don't save me, I won't hate you. I love you, I'm willing to die for you, and after I die, you should find someone who loves you. I sneered inwardly. For me, how ridiculous. Looking at his expression of doing what's best for me, the past suddenly became clear. Whenever I had conflicts with my mother-in-law, he always took my side. Yet in the end, it was always her who got her way. I was always the only one who lost. Before marriage, we agreed not to live with parents, but just a month after the wedding, my mother-in-law moved in with all her bags and belongings. I objected. And Joel's son also joined me in angrily scolding my mother-in-law. Turning against her, after that, he hid in the stairwell and called his mother to apologize. Mom, I'm unfilial. Please don't blame me. I promised Maya we'd live separately, and I have to keep my word. I'm sorry. Watching him frantically slap his own face, my heart softened with guilt. And I personally brought my mother-in-law to live with us. In my past life, I signed the kidney donation papers without hesitation. There was no such drama. Now that I refuse, they start playing good cop, bad cop again. I want to see all of Joel's son's medical reports. I reached out to my mother-in-law, speaking in a firm tone. A flicker of panic flashed through my mother-in-law's eyes as she angrily retorted, her face full of rage. Such a sin. The daughter-in-law doesn't believe her mother-in-law's words. Joel is already in the ICU. Are you blind? Can't you see how miserable he is? Yes, I am blind. Fooled by him in my past life, losing both my life and my fortune, in my past life. I didn't check the medical report and was utterly frantic upon learning Joel's son had kidney failure. I was certain that neither of them had the medical report in hand. My father-in-law avoided mentioning the report altogether and chimed in from the side. Maya, the doctor said you're in good health. Donating a kidney won't affect your health. You'll still be as lively as ever afterward. My hands clenched tightly behind my back, nails digging deep into my palms, sending a sharp sting of pain. In my past life, after donating a kidney, my health deteriorated drastically, and I was tormented by illness every day. Yet, the mother-in-law who had promised to take care of me before the kidney donation never showed up, and even Joel's son often stayed out all night. The last time I saw my mother-in-law alive was at her celebration party for Lexi Liang. Her smug expression and malicious words are still vivid in my mind to this day. Lexi is finally cured, after all. Joel had a brilliant idea, pretending to be sick to make that bitch donate a kidney. What a fool. The moment I mentioned kidney failure, she rushed off to get tested without a second thought. In my past life, if I hadn't accidentally overheard them, I would have died without ever knowing the truth. Now, looking at their expressions, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. As his wife, can't I just check the medical report and look at the scans? You're all in such a hurry to get me to sign the kidney donation. Shouldn't I at least know his exact condition? I feigned shock as I stared at them. Is there something you're hiding from me? My in-laws grew even more flustered, forcing composure as they dragged me to the doorway and shouted, "Everyone, come and see. My son dotes on her every day, but when it really matters, she refuses to help." Her eyes glared at me with venom. "I can see you just don't want to save my son." A vicious glint flashed in her eyes as she pointed at me. "Are you seeing someone else? Truly mother and son, both so fond of spreading slanderous rumors about me." I watched with satisfaction as more and more people gathered around. Without hearing my side, they immediately began pointing fingers at me, taking her words at face value. That woman clearly isn't the decent type. If she were my daughter-in-law, I'd slap her right across the face. A loose woman like her should have been drowned in a pig cage in ancient times. Seeing the crowd siding with her, the mother-in-law burst into tears, sniffling and sobbing. "I only have one son. If he dies, I won't live either. As long as you donate a kidney, even if you leave with someone else in the future, we won't blame you." A faint, almost imperceptible smile curled at the corners of my lips. The next second, my eyes welled up with tears as I tremblingly pulled out a piece of paper. "Mom, Dad, if I didn't want to donate a kidney, I wouldn't have gone for the matching test. I just found out I'm pregnant, so I wanted to check on Joel's son's condition. How could you accuse me of cheating?" I turned to the detective hiding in the corner, filming, and sobbed uncontrollably. "Uncle, Auntie, please judge for me. I bore children for their family, yet they're slandering me, trying to drive me to death. One corpse, two lives." The crowd, seeing the ultrasound showing a 12-week pregnancy, turned to scold the mother-in-law. "Your daughter-in-law is pregnant. How could you, as her mother-in-law, force her into surgery?" Yes, and even slandering her own daughter-in-law. "I saw her rushing to get a match test done this morning. The couple has a great relationship. Just because you're anxious about your son doesn't mean you can accuse your daughter-in-law of cheating." The public opinion shifted, and the mother-in-law angrily retorted, "Bah, she's been married into our family for 5 years. And there's still no sign of a baby. This ultrasound must be fake. She's just selfish and doesn't want to donate a kidney to my son." Everyone saw how unreasonable she was and quickly left when the nurse approached. Tears streamed down my face as my voice trembled. Dr. Meng from the obstetrics department personally performed the examination for me. She's a leading authority in gynecology. The mother-in-law angrily shouted, "So what if it's real, even if you're really pregnant? You'll have to get an abortion." The mother-in-law reached out to grab me. "Get out and have the abortion." Ignoring the from the people around, my in-laws tried to drag me away. Their ugly faces were clearly captured by the people I had arranged to be there. The nurse rushed over in time to protect me. Forcing an abortion against a pregnant woman's will is punishable by law. My in-laws were too scared to act, glaring at me fiercely. I looked at my belly. Thankfully, I wasn't pregnant with Joel's son, that scumbag's child. When I first married into the family, my mother-in-law pressured me daily to conceive. "Maya, this is a secret recipe Mom specially found for you. As long as you drink it, you're guaranteed to have a big, healthy baby boy." But my mother died tragically from complications during childbirth while giving birth to me, so I've never wanted children. Yet, not wanting to put Joel's son in a difficult position between me and Mom, I'd pinch my nose and force down the foul-smelling medicine every time. A year ago, she suspected there was something wrong with my body and insisted I go to the hospital for a checkup. Joel's son, afraid I'd be upset, also got examined, but the results showed it was Joel's son who had the issue. I kept it hidden all along, not wanting to embarrass him, so my mother-in-law always believed the problem was with me and treated me worse by the day. Yet who would have thought she'd ask me to abort the grandson she'd been longing for, all because of Lexi Liang? Images flashed through my mind. How could I forget the scene I witnessed at the celebration in my previous life? Joel's son gently held a little boy in his arms, saying, "Sweetheart, come play with Daddy." Judging by the child's age, about 1 or 2 years old, it meant he had already been unfaithful during the 5 years of our marriage. Joel's son can't have children at all, so whose child is Lexi Liang's? I've discovered something very interesting, but it wouldn't be fun to expose it now, while my in-laws were being scolded by the nurse. I took the opportunity to pick up my mother-in-law's phone that had fallen on the floor and sent a message to Lexi Liang. That bitch Maya Seong won't sign. Hurry up and bring the fake medical records. In her previous life, Lexi Liang never showed up during the entire surgery. This time, she won't get to hide safely behind the scenes. The whole family is going down together in public disgrace. Sure enough, as soon as I reached the first floor entrance, Lexi Liang appeared. She clutched my arm tightly. This is Joel Sun's medical report. Sister-in-law, my brother loves you so much. You can't just stand by and watch him die. My mother-in-law, following closely behind, urged anxiously, Lexi, hurry up and talk to her. Lexi Liang shoved the medical report right in front of my face. Look at the diagnosis report. The doctor confirmed it's end-stage renal failure, and the scans show that due to kidney failure, Joel Sun's stomach has already developed adhesions. He's vomiting and nauseous all day, lying in bed feeling dizzy and lethargic. Seeing that I remained unmoved, she continued. The doctor said he could die at any moment without treatment. How could you bear to let your beloved husband pass away? She subtly gave her mother-in-law a meaningful glance. The previously fierce mother-in-law instantly teared up, took my hand, and apologized. Maya, I was wrong just now. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. Mom is so worried about Joel. His condition is terrible. She's afraid she might lose him. Father-in-law was also in tears. Yes, if you don't donate a kidney, Joel only has a few days left to live. If you donate a kidney and save Joel, you'll be our family's great benefactor. We'll honor you forever. In my previous life, I was indeed enshrined. At my funeral, Lexi Liang tightly gripped my hand. If you delay any longer, even donating a kidney might not save Joel's son. The success rate of the surgery will decrease. I looked at the medical report and said slowly, in that case. He paused slightly, savoring the fleeting triumph in the eyes of the three of them. Then, I wiped away non-existent tears. If he's this gravely ill, then let's give up on treatment. We can't sacrifice a fully formed child for someone who's already dying. What nonsense are you talking about? The wrinkled face of my mother-in-law instantly contorted, her eyes widening as she raised her hand to strike me. I lifted my hand to block her, staring straight into her eyes. Mom, didn't you hear what Lexi Liang said? Joel's son is in critical condition. Even with surgery, he might not survive. I caressed my belly, deliberately pushing it forward, tears welling up in my eyes. If the surgery fails and the child is lost, Joel's son will be gone too, and the Song family will have no heir. I have a grand. My mother-in-law blurted out, her expression showing no concern as she glanced at my belly. Lexi Liang, standing nearby, quickly tugged at my mother-in-law's arm, a flicker of panic flashing in her eyes. I saw all of this and sneered inwardly, but now wasn't the time to lay all my cards on the table with them. Lexi Liang held my hand and said with an awkward smile, Sister-in-law, you've misunderstood. I was too anxious earlier and spoke too harshly. Joel's son can be saved, he just needs surgery to live a long life. Mother-in-law immediately understood and pretended to scold Lexi Liang. Lexi, really, you made it sound so serious that you scared your sister-in-law. She looked at my belly. Maya, you can still have another child, but my husband must not be in danger. You should abort the baby to save Joel. My mother-in-law pretended to look at me with sympathy. Weren't you afraid of having children before? Now that it's gone, you don't have to worry about giving birth. Childbirth is much more painful than an abortion. Look how thin and pretty you are now. If the pregnancy had progressed, your figure would have been ruined for sure. A faint smile played at the corners of her lips. As if she had found a perfectly good reason, I sneered inwardly, remembering how my mother-in-law used to brew me all sorts of bizarre concoctions while nagging. A woman's duty is to serve her husband and bear his children. A woman who's afraid of pain and won't bear children is no good woman at all. You married into our family, so you must listen to me, your mother-in-law. I sighed, rubbing my belly. But my health isn't good. The doctor said if I miscarry, I won't be able to have children again. I won't be able to carry on the Song family line for you. My mother-in-law grabbed my hand. Even if you can't have children, it's okay. Mom won't look down on you. You saved Joel. That makes you our great benefactor. She turned to my father-in-law. Old man, hurry up and say something. My father-in-law chimed in. Yes, our whole family has nothing but gratitude for you. If you want a child, you could always adopt one later. Your mother and I would never object." My father-in-law's eyes darted around, his gaze inadvertently landing on Lexi Liang. I immediately understood. He wanted me to adopt my illegitimate child in the future. It would be a natural way for them to move into my home and inherit my estate. The abacus beads are practically hitting me in the face. The three of them made plans for me, chattering back and forth, and I felt a wave of disgust in my heart. I held my head, pretending to be unwell, and leaned weakly against the pillar. Oh dear, my low blood sugar is acting up again. The doctor said I've taken too many folk remedies for fertility, damaging my foundation. Donating a kidney would be very dangerous. Seeing my persistent refusal, the three of them immediately changed their expressions. My mother-in-law shook off my hand and scolded sharply. "I can see it now. You never intended to save my son. Have you no conscience at all?" She plopped down on the ground, pointing at me and shouting, "Everyone, come and see. Her husband is critically ill, and she, as his wife, doesn't even care or ask about him." I watched coldly as she threw a tantrum, putting on this act in the hospital room, just like before. I snorted disdainfully, "Mom, Joel's son is your son, and you feel for him, but I also feel for my own child." Seeing my firm stance and recalling the accusations in the hospital room, she looked at Lexi Liang for help. Lexi Liang, noticing the growing crowd, suddenly knelt before me, clutching my calf. She wept bitterly, her tears falling like pear blossoms in the rain. "Sister-in-law, I beg you, save Joel's son, he's still young." The onlookers had already overheard the previous conversation and were whispering among themselves about us. Every family has its own troubles, and deciding to abort a child isn't easy. That's true, but since the child hasn't been born yet, aborting it shouldn't be a problem. We can't just not save someone, can we? If it were me, I'd definitely save my own husband. Didn't you hear? She never wanted the child in the first place. Now she's using the child and her body as excuses. Clearly she doesn't want to save him. Humans naturally have two kidneys. Losing one would definitely harm your health. The onlookers were quite rational. Not all of them took their side. Lexi Liang burst into tears upon seeing this. "Auntie only has Joel's son as her only child. If you don't save him, Auntie and Uncle won't be able to go on living either. Sister-in-law, my brother has been so attentive to you. You can't just think of yourself." As she spoke, she nudged her mother-in-law with her elbow. Understanding the hint, the mother-in-law and father-in-law immediately ran toward the second floor. With one leg each straddling the second-floor railing, my father-in-law glared at me with eyes wide in fury. "If you don't save Joel, we'll jump from here. Our whole family has treated you so well. How can you bear to watch us die like this?" My mother-in-law shrieked at me hoarsely. "I treated you as my own daughter, taking care of your every need. How can you be so ungrateful?" Everyone in the hospital panicked and rushed to persuade her, "Don't do anything reckless. If you land head first, you'll surely die. If you die, your son will have no one left to care for him." Lexi Liang held on to me tightly. "Sister-in-law, I beg you. You can't just stand by and watch your mother-in-law and father-in-law die." As she spoke, she kowtowed violently to me, pleading with tears streaming down her face. "Have some mercy. Joel's son even saved you before. Have you forgotten? If it weren't for him, you'd already be dead." A glint of ruthlessness flashed in my eyes. "The only reason I'm with Joel's son is because he saved my life that time. After my father passed away, I single-handedly kept the company running, working late every day. One night on my way home, someone suddenly rushed out at me, a gleaming dagger pressed against my neck. "Hand over all your money." To save my life, I gave him all my money, but he leered at me and actually tried to assault me. Just as I was struggling helplessly, Joel's son appeared and saved me. He was like a sun, illuminating my dark world. Only at death did I realize everything was just an act. Joel's son stood before the cremation furnace, sneering at me. "Fool, do you know who robbed you back then? It was my distant cousin. Haha, I paid him $1,000 to play his part, and in return, I got 10 million in inheritance. Even if she hadn't mentioned it, I would have remembered. This accomplice won't escape unscathed either." Seeing the in-laws threatening suicide, the crowd who had just been speaking up for me quickly turned against me. Save your husband. Your mother-in-law and father-in-law are at their wits' end. That's right. You can have another child later. He saved you before. You can't be ungrateful now." As they spoke, someone even stepped forward to grab my arm. "Hurry up and tell your mother-in-law and father-in-law that you're willing to donate a kidney. We can't let someone die. Filial piety comes first. You must listen to your mother-in-law." I shook off the person's hand, pretending to be heartbroken, tears streaming down my face. "Fine, I agree to abort the child and donate a kidney to Joel's son." A glint of triumph flashed in my in-laws' eyes. But before they could even smile, I immediately laid out my condition. "But you must transfer all the property I previously allocated to Joel's son back into my name." Their expressions changed abruptly, as if I'd struck a nerve. My mother-in-law flatly refused. "No, Joel's money is essentially your money. And with your company, you're not short on funds either." I stood firm. "If you want me to donate a kidney, you must return the money to me." The young onlookers sided with me. "The lady has a point. At least one of health or money should be guaranteed. You're not thinking of taking advantage of the family's misfortune, are you?" They're emotionally blackmailing me, using the crowd to pressure me. "But they'll have to face others' accusations too." Lexi Liang frowned slightly, a flicker of panic flashing in her eyes as she quickly signaled to her in-laws. Her father-in-law cleared his throat and declared loudly, "Fine, we'll give you all the money." The in-laws came down with trembling legs. The three of them pulled me outside and handed me the kidney donation consent form. "Sign it." I raised my hand in refusal. "I can't sign right now. You must first have Joel's son transfer the property to me." My mother-in-law sighed and said, "Joel is currently in the ICU and in no condition to do so. We'll transfer it to you once he recovers." Lexi Liang nodded. "Sister-in-law, we will definitely keep our word. I'm putting on this act with them just to reclaim the assets. Do they still think I'm completely hung up on Joel's son? Donating a kidney first would only mean waiting to die. All I want now is the money, waiting for them to reap what they've sown." I took out my phone and made a call. "Bring the documents I gave you and come to the First People's Hospital." My mother-in-law looked at me suspiciously, her eyes full of doubt. "Who are you calling?" I ignored her and headed toward the ward. Normally, ICU visits are only allowed through a small window, but private rooms can be entered after applying. As soon as I entered, I threw myself onto Joel's son in sorrow, jabbing him hard with my elbow. "Honey," he grimaced in pain but still pretended to be weak. "Why are you here?" I slapped his chest forcefully, enjoying the sight of him gritting his teeth to endure it. Lexi Liang was heartbroken and stepped forward to pull me away, but I, overwhelmed with grief, scratched her arm without a second thought. I cried with pear blossoms and rain, and Lexi Liang had no choice but to endure it, clutching her arm. Lawyer Chen stepped forward promptly and presented the contract for the transfer of the inheritance. Joel's son was incredulous. "Maya, you want my property?" With tears in my eyes, I said, "Just sign the papers to transfer the property to my name. I'll sign the kidney donation consent form right away. Mom and Dad have already agreed to it." I looked at my in-laws. Both had dissatisfaction toward me in their eyes, though they dared not show it on their faces. "Maya, why are you in such a hurry? Do you really think Mom and Dad would lie to you?" Mr. Chen and I tried our best to ignore the foundation on Joel's son's face. I sighed and said, "Honey, I'm going to have an abortion for you, and I won't be able to have children anymore. I'm also thinking about my future. You love me so much, so you'd be willing to sign, right?" My voice choked up as I deliberately emphasized the words "won't be able to have children." Sure enough, a glint of calculation flashed in Joel's son's eyes. No children meant all the money would be his after my death. I stood firm, and Joel's son weighed the pros and cons, glanced at Lexi Liang behind me, and took the documents. Lawyer Chen and the notary representative watched as Joel's son signed. The house, the car, and the 3 million in the bank account are all to be transferred to Maya Xiong's name. Holding the documents, I finally felt a sense of relief. All of these belong to the Xiong family. Joel's son can't take a single one. My mother-in-law shoved the kidney donation consent form into my hand. "The money is all yours. Sign it quickly and go get the abortion procedure done." I looked at the recipient's name on the form and signed it with satisfaction. "Mom, don't worry. I'll go get rid of the baby in my belly right away. Dr. Meng is a good friend of my mom's, and I've already made arrangements with her. If they can bribe Dr. Lee to fake the results, then I can use my connections to deceive them too. I walked out of the operating room with a pale face. My mother-in-law was waiting outside and immediately dragged me to donate a kidney. Hurry up, Mom has already scheduled the surgery for you. It can be done tonight. I violently shook her off. Tears streaming down my face. I just had an abortion, and now you want me to donate a kidney? I deliberately raised my voice to draw the attention of those around me. Oh my God, she's so weak after just having a miscarriage. How can she donate a kidney? This mother-in-law is too cruel. After all, it's not her own daughter, so she doesn't feel the pain. The mother-in-law was being criticized behind her back, her face flushed red with embarrassment. The look of frustration on her face was truly laughable. I clutched my stomach, feigning weakness as I said, I need to recover my health first. We can talk about donating a kidney later. Supported by the nurse, I walked away, leaving my mother-in-law grinding her teeth in frustration. I turned my head slightly and saw her face twisted with anger, feeling a faint surge of vengeful satisfaction in my heart. I specifically gave the nanny a few days off when Maya got home, asking my mother-in-law to take care of her, to make me donate a kidney sooner. My mother-in-law had no choice but to cook herself, all smiles. Maya, this is black chicken soup. The best for replenishing energy and blood. You need to recover quickly to save Joel. I took a sip and immediately spat it out, pretending it was an accident as I spilled the whole bowl on her. My mother-in-law's arm was instantly scalded red, and she screamed in pain, "You little bitch, I'll beat you to death." I nimbly dodged and picked up a shard to point at her. "If you hurt me, who will donate a kidney to your son? The soup is so salty. Are you trying to ruin my kidney too?" My mother-in-law didn't dare to lay a hand on me and glared at me angrily. "The seasoning is just right. You're deliberately making things difficult for me. Now that I've secured all the assets, I'm not afraid she'll notice." Smiling at her, I say, "I did it on purpose. If you're so capable, then don't serve me. And Joel's son can forget about living too." My mother-in-law is so furious she's stomping her feet, clutching her chest and gasping for breath. She stammered "you" for a long time but couldn't get a word out, so she obediently went back to cooking, watching her retreating figure. The corners of my lips curled slightly as I smiled with satisfaction. Even when we had a maid at home before, she still insisted on ordering me around. Maya, no matter how much a woman earns outside, she must come home and cook for her husband. How much electricity does that robot vacuum use? You do a much better job mopping yourself. I want to eat ribs tomorrow. Don't forget to buy groceries after work. Joel's son always speaks up for me at times like these. Seeing him get scolded by my mother-in-law, I held myself back. In this second life, I've realized they were putting on an act for my benefit, making me believe Joel's son truly loved me, even willing to stand against his mother for me. Now it's her turn to experience my life. I had some free time these days, so I hired a private investigator to look into Joel's son and Qian-He. Upon learning he was drowning in gambling debts, I had the investigator leak Joel's son's information to them. He didn't disappoint by causing a scene at the hospital, threatening Joel's son to hand over money. "If you don't give me the money, I'll tell Maya Xiong what happened back then. If she finds out, she definitely won't donate her kidney to you. Just wait to die." Joel's son was so furious he cursed, "Take the money and get lost. Don't let me see you again." Qian-He took all the money from Joel's son's phone. Now he's truly broke, but Qian-He won't be able to spend it freely either. The moment he gets the money and goes soliciting, I'll report him directly. He'll be gifted with silver bracelets, handcuffs. I kept stalling for time until finally, Lexi Liang fell ill. I had just notified security to come and escort my in-laws out. The next moment, my in-laws walked in carrying fruit, my mother-in-law looking anxious. "Maya, it's been 7 days already. You should be fully recovered by now." I asked the doctor, "You can go to the hospital to donate a kidney now." My father-in-law kept persuading me by my side, "Joel's condition is getting worse. You should go to the hospital for surgery as soon as possible. The risks will increase if it's delayed." I quietly watched their performance, filled with mockery in my heart, and sighed, "It's only the 7th day, Meng said at least half a month of rest is needed. My mother-in-law exploded like dynamite, shouting, "No, you must go to the hospital to donate a kidney today. Joel can't hold on any longer. We can't delay any further." She and my father-in-law were about to drag me out of bed. I slapped her hand away. "Don't touch me." My mother-in-law, having been slapped, was about to explode in anger when my next words stopped her cold. "You really dote on Lexi Liang, don't you? The moment she's hospitalized, you're in such a hurry." The mother-in-law's eyes began to dart away, stammering, What nonsense are you talking about? It's Joel who's sick." I sneered and opened my phone, which clearly displayed Lexi Liang's medical records. With a face full of disdain, I said, "Stop lying to me. It's not Joel's son who has kidney failure, it's Lexi Liang. You've gone to such lengths for that mistress-daughter-in-law Lexi Liang." My mother-in-law suddenly lunged at me, trying to snatch my phone, but I dodged her. "If you're so worried about Lexi Liang, then get out and stay with her." The security guards arrived quickly, subduing the two and forcefully dragging them out. The mother-in-law screamed curses, her voice shrill and piercing. "You barren hen, you unfilial daughter, I'm your mother-in-law. How dare you not let me live here, not to be outdone." The father-in-law also threatened to call the police on me. "I'm calling the police right now to report you for elder abuse." His wrinkled face was full of smugness, as if he thought this tactic would make me back down. I crossed my arms and watched the struggling pair with a smile. "Go ahead, let the police decide." Stealing a jade bracelet worth 200,000, how should that be judged? Mother-in-law's hand trembled as she shouted with neither reason nor confidence, "You're talking nonsense. When did I ever steal the bracelet?" I took out my phone and played the surveillance video. "I installed surveillance cameras long ago, and they recorded your entire theft. I'll ask lawyer Chen for you right away, so you can be prepared in advance." My in-laws looked at me in horror. "Don't call the police. We're leaving now." The two of them slunk away with their belongings. The real jade bracelet had long been replaced by me. What she stole was a $20 fake. To control her, you need leverage. I had jewelry go missing before, but without proof. I never mentioned it out of respect for Joel's son, so a few days ago, I deliberately flaunted my family heirloom jade bracelet to tempt her. Sure enough, she came to steal it that very night. I just got back to my room when the private detective sent me a video. In the video, Joel's son's face was flushed, showing no signs of illness at all. He held Lexi Liang anxiously and said, "Lexi, don't worry, I'll definitely make that bitch Maya Xiong donate her kidney to you. How dare you trade a kidney donation for all my assets?" At the mention of me, his face twisted with rage, his expression ferocious. Lexi Liang leaned weakly in Joel's son's arms, her face pale after wiping off the blush that had given her a healthy glow. "Honey, the doctor said I don't have much time left. I can't wait for another kidney donor. She used to be completely obedient to you. Why did she suddenly change this time? In my previous life, I was indeed completely obedient to him, donating my kidney to him without hesitation. But after seeing his disgusting true colors, I wish I could kill him." Joel's son gritted his teeth, his voice filled with resentment. "She must have been pretending before, that heartless wretch. How dare she kick our parents out? I'm going home to confront her right now." She signed the consent form. She has to donate the kidney. I closed the video, a cold smirk curling at the corner of my mouth. I was right in my prediction. No sooner had I driven them away than Joel's son would come. Come on, the stage I set for him is about to begin. I messaged my neighbor with millions of followers. "Sister Muzi, I've rested enough and can do a four-hand duet now. Let's go live." Sister Muzi quickly sent a message. "Okay, thank you for helping me with this. Don't be nervous during the live stream." I had just replied with okay when the door was kicked with loud bangs. "Maya Xiong, get out here." Joel's son was shouting curses outside the door, kicking it violently again and again. I saw from the surveillance footage that the security guard was holding Joel's son back outside the door. "Mr. Song, MS. Xiong has made it clear. No one from the Song family is allowed here." Joel's son's eyes were bloodshot as he held a knife to his own throat. "Don't touch me, or I'll kill myself. You wouldn't want a death in your fancy neighborhood, would you?" I scoffed. Joel's son, that coward, would never actually commit suicide. The security guard sighed helplessly. Ms. Seong, could you please come out for a moment? I activated the intercom and replied coldly. Do you really have the guts to die? Joel's son was seething with anger and slammed the door forcefully. Come out, go to the hospital with me. He pulled out the kidney donation consent form and pointed at the words, "This is the name you signed voluntarily." The lawyer and notary were both present that day. If you want the assets, don't even think about denying it. I suddenly opened the door and dodged to the side, causing Joel's son, who was charging at the door, to fall flat on the ground. Ah! Joel's son screamed in pain as the security guard swiftly snatched the dagger that had fallen to the ground. Joel's son glared at me with hatred, getting up from the ground to grab me. Maya Seong, you bitch, you're going today whether you want to or not. The security guard promptly restrained him, leaving Joel's son roaring in helpless rage. Let go of me, I'm a resident here, you have no right to kick me out. I curled my lips into a mocking smile. The house is under my name, and I can kick you out anytime I want. You cheated on me and betrayed me, yet you still want to use my kidney to save your mistress. You wish. I shoved the consent form right in his face. Take a good look at the recipient's name. It's Joel's son, not Lexi Liang. So this consent form is invalid. Lexi Liang has no right to demand my kidney donation. Joel's son stood frozen in place as if struck by lightning. Impossible, you signed the paper. So you have to donate a kidney. Joel's son screamed hysterically. Since it was the weekend and no one was at work, many residents were drawn to the commotion. I saw Sister Muzi approaching. Live streaming the scene, I grabbed Joel's son's hand. He tried to shake me off, and I took the opportunity to fall to the ground. Joel's son, you hit me for that other woman. My eyes welled up with tears, overwhelmed with grievance. As Sister Muzi rushed over to shield me, she pointed her phone at Joel's son. Joel's son, if you lay another hand on her, I'm calling the police. I pinched my own flesh hard, tears streaming down my face as I screamed hoarsely at Joel's son. Joel's son, I treated you so well. And what did you do? You cheated on me 3 years ago behind my back. The child is already 2 years old. If I hadn't accidentally found out the truth, you would have already killed me by harvesting my kidneys. I rushed into the room and pulled out the abortion report, my voice choked with emotion. Look, everyone. To save him, my in-laws forced me to abort the baby. Right after my miscarriage, I suddenly received these photos. I threw the photos at Joel's son's face, scattering them across the floor. The onlooking neighbors all saw the intimate photos of Joel's son and Lexi Liang, with Sister Muzi pointing the camera at the pictures. The two embraced and kissed in the hospital ward, with Joel's son holding a child and playing around with Lexi Liang. No one would believe they weren't a family of 3. The neighbors looked at Joel's son with disgust. I always thought you were the perfect devoted husband, but it turns out it was all an act, a Phoenix man who lives off his wife, yet still tries to trick his first wife into donating a kidney to his mistress. Has your conscience been eaten by dogs? Joel's son looked flustered, beads of cold sweat forming on his forehead. These are all fake, fabricated by Maya Seong. She's lying to you. Lexi Liang is my cousin, not the other woman. I slapped him across the face. Even now, you still try to lie to me. My tears fell like broken strings of pearls. To see Lexi Liang often, your whole family lied to me, saying she was your cousin. I tried to set her up with someone, but she refused every time. Turns out you two had already gotten together. Joel's son wanted to explain, but his mother-in-law suddenly rushed over and interrupted him, her tone urgent. Lexi had a relapse and was admitted to the ICU. She needs a kidney transplant immediately, or she won't make it. Joel's son turned pale, no longer in the mood to argue about what had just happened, and pleaded, I admit I cheated. Maya, please save her. You've been so good to her. Just help her one more time. Donating a kidney won't cause any harm. My mother-in-law grabbed me, pleading in a desperate tone. Maya, my good daughter-in-law, please save Lexi. The child is only 3 years old and can't grow up without a mother. You grew up without a mother yourself. You know how hard it is for a child without one. Sister Muzi sneered, asking the legal wife to save the mistress. You all have some nerve. Maya, you mustn't soften your heart. The netizens and I are all on your side. Gratefully, I squeezed Sister Muzi's hand in return. I will never compromise. Joel's son broke free from the security guards and knelt before me, kowtowing. Maya, I beg you, every mistake is mine. I shouldn't have schemed to make you donate a kidney, shouldn't have cheated. You can hit me or scold me. Anything is fine. I stomped hard on his hand. A flash of hatred crossed Joel's son's eyes as he grimaced in pain. As long as you're willing to save Maya, you can vent your anger however you want. I scoffed and pulled out the divorce papers. I will never donate a kidney to Lexi Liang. Sign it, we're getting divorced, and from now on, we'll have nothing to do with each other. Joel's son's face twisted in fury. I won't divorce you. I looked at him with sarcasm. Do you even have a choice? I stared straight into his furious eyes. If you don't sign, we'll go to court. You cheated. You'll definitely lose the case. I've already obtained evidence of you and Dr. Lee fabricating medical records. Either sign for the kidney trade, or go to jail. Joel's son looked at me as if he had seen the devil. He slumped to the ground, clutching his hair desperately. Broke and unwilling to face prison, he finally signed the document with trembling hands. I threw all his belongings out. Take your stuff and get out. Joel's son and her mother-in-law were being pointed at and gossiped about by the crowd. That wicked mother-in-law was previously telling everyone in the neighborhood that Maya Seong was tormenting her. Now it's clear it was all lies. Forcing someone to have an abortion to donate a kidney to the mistress, truly vicious. Get out. We'll beat you up every time we see you. Pushed and shoved by everyone, the two of them scurried away in disgrace. Before Sister Muzi ended the livestream, I deliberately mentioned Joel's son's workplace. I also used the power of money to buy a trending topic on Weibo. #scumbag Joel's son faked illness to get a kidney for his mistress. Joel's son went viral online, becoming a widely condemned scumbag. Netizens flooded his workplace's official social media accounts with demands, fire this scumbag. How can someone with such low moral standards be a civil servant? Trash, fire him. Trash like this must be thoroughly investigated. How did such a person even become a civil servant? In the end, Joel's son lost his job after the livestream went viral. I posted the video previously recorded by someone at the hospital online. Song's mother spread malicious rumors, forced me to have an abortion, and Lexi Liang, the other woman, emotionally blackmailed me, all of which were fully documented. Their smug expressions were captured clearly, and I deliberately edited them together with my own sorrowful, tearful expression. The stark contrast between the two sparked public outrage. Netizens dug up Lexi Liang's information and caused a scene at the hospital. Homewrecker, come out. If the mistress doesn't come out, we won't leave. The hospital had no choice but to discharge Lexi Liang. Every day, someone sent razor blades and dead mice to the apartment Lexi Liang rented. I also kindly added to her collection of animals by ordering a box of live cockroaches online and sending them over, causing chaos in the household. In just 3 days, the private detective sent me a message. Lexi Liang is dead. I looked at the message, and the corners of my mouth involuntarily curled slightly. Lexi Liang, this is what you owed me. I deliberately attended Lexi Liang's funeral, watching from afar as Joel's son held her ashes and wept bitterly. Lexi, rest assured. I will avenge you and raise our child well. Compared to his previous life where he pretended to cry just for show, now he is genuinely heartbroken, weeping inconsolably. The mistress's destructive power is truly immense. The grandmother comforted the sobbing child. Sweetheart, don't cry anymore. You must remember that it was that wicked woman Maya Seong who killed your mother. I watched the scene and smiled, pulling out my phone to send a message. Soon, a group of people rushed in aggressively and began smashing the morning hall. You deceitful woman, cheating me out of my money. I won't let you rest in peace even in death. Joel's son shielded the ashes, his eyes red with fury as he shouted, "Stop it, this is the memorial hall for my wife Lexi Liang. You've got the wrong place. Get out." The tattooed leader snatched the urn and smashed it violently on the ground. "I'm here for Lexi Liang. She said she was carrying my child and took a lot of money from me. Turns out it was someone else's kid." The ashes were scattered all over the ground, trampled underfoot by the crowd, and the child was so terrified that he urinated directly on them. Joel's son's face was full of disbelief. "Nonsense. Lexi Liang has only ever had me as her man. How could she possibly use a child to scam you out of money? The tattooed man sneered and smashed Lexi Liang's memorial photo to pieces. Pa. Who knows how many men's beds she's been in? The tattooed man looked at the child, then at Joel's son. If this kid is yours, then you'd better pay us back the money, 300,000, not a penny less. The mother-in-law exploded at the mention of money. Pa, dream on, if you want money. Go ask Lexi Liang in the afterlife. Go ahead and die if you dare. The tattooed man was spat in the face, then kicked the elderly woman in the stomach. The woman screamed in pain and collapsed to the ground. The tattooed man picked up the wailing child and threatened, if you don't pay back the money, I'll chop off all 10 of his fingers, make him a disabled person who can't take care of himself. The dagger pressed against the child's hand, who was so frightened that he cried until he fainted, while the grandmother wailed, "Don't cut him. You mustn't hurt my grandson. We'll give you whatever money you want. Joel, just give him the money. Little Treasure is the heir of the Song family." Joel's son bit his lip hard. "Mom, I'm out of money." The father-in-law pulled out his bank card with a pained expression. "This is our burial money. Spare my grandson. Take the money." A group of people came in a mighty wave, and left in a mighty wave. I watched with satisfaction as my mother-in-law held her grandson and wept bitterly in misery. I put on my sunglasses and left. Soon, a transfer of 200,000 yuan came through on my phone. It was from the tattooed man. The tattooed man had indeed been scammed out of money by Lexi Liang, but it was because she had previously tricked him into gambling, costing him 100,000 yuan. The 200,000 yuan I demanded was the money my in-laws had taken from me in the past. Not a single penny of my money will they take away. I encountered them again outside the neighborhood, all 3 of them disheveled and unkempt. When Joel's son saw me, he charged at me like a mad dog. "You bitch, you did this to me on purpose. You cost me my job, I'll kill you." He bared his fangs and claws, about to hit me, but was stopped by the bodyguard I had hired. I had known they were stalking me these past few days, so I hired a bodyguard in advance to protect me. I took out the pregnancy test report I had prepared long ago and threw it in front of Joel's son. "This is the premarital checkup report from back then. You're infertile." Joel's son stared at the result above in disbelief. "Impossible, I can reproduce. Otherwise how could you be pregnant?" I smirked mockingly, as if watching a joke. "I was never pregnant. I only said that to buy time." Joel's son glared viciously at my stomach. "Lexi, and I already have a child. It's you who can't conceive." My eyes filled with mockery. "Let me tell you a secret. Lexi Liang's child is actually her ex-boyfriend Li Wu's." I threw the paternity test report at Joel's son, which clearly stated there is no paternal relationship between Joel's son and Song Yaozu. "I heard you spent all your money to save your grandson. How generous. Haha." My father-in-law looked utterly devastated. "My money? I spent my burial savings to save someone else's child." The mother-in-law looked fierce. "That bitch Lexi Liang actually deceived us. The Sun family has no heir now." The mother-in-law and father-in-law wailed, then fainted with their eyes rolling back. Joel's son stared at the date on the report and glared at me viciously. "You knew about Lexi Liang's death beforehand. And you deliberately waited until now to tell me. You poisonous woman. You wretch. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I sneered, signaling the bodyguards to restrain him, then delivered a heavy slap across his face. "You wanted my money and my life. What right do you have to call me poisonous? I deliberately waited for you to lose everything before telling you the truth. Joel's son, it was your own greed that destroyed you." Joel's son collapsed to the ground, watching the miserable state of the 3. I felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction. I turned and got into the car to leave. What I wanted wasn't just for Joel's son to end up on the streets. While consolidating the assets, I discovered issues with his property. When Lexi Liang broke up with her ex and returned to his side, I hadn't yet transferred the assets to him. He actually embezzled public funds to buy a house for Lexi Liang. How audacious! I directly submitted the collected evidence to the procuratorate. When Joel's son was arrested, I watched from afar. He saw me and pleaded for help. "Maya, help me pay back the money. I know I was wrong. Can we get back together? I'll never cheat again. I'll take care of you wholeheartedly." I kicked him away, and his expression instantly changed. If it weren't for me saving you from those thugs, you'd be dead by now. You owe me your life. His threatening me again with this so-called life-saving favor. I glared coldly at Jolson. It was your distant relative Jolson who robbed me, Chen He. He was arrested right after he extorted money from you. He looked as if struck by lightning. How did you know? He didn't get a chance to hear my explanation before being taken away by the police. His shameless behavior was also recorded by passers-by and posted online. With the whole incident being exposed, he became infamous overnight, turning into a public enemy that everyone condemned. Scumbags like him deserve to die. Sister, you're better off without him. Rumor has it that the other woman was his mistress, tricking him with someone else's child, and he actually believed it. Haha, this green hat is huge. Serves you right. Joel's son embezzled public funds and traded kidney sources, sentenced to life imprisonment. Dr. Lee accepted bribes to falsify medical records, was dismissed from the hospital, and sentenced to 5 years in prison. I hired someone to inform Chen He's family, telling them it was Joel's son who caused Chen He to be imprisoned. After learning about it, Chen He beat Joel's son in prison. You green-headed bastard dared to trick me. I'll beat you to death. Joel's son was forced to smash his head against the wall, blood streaming down, and both his legs were brutally broken. Meanwhile, Joel's parents were harassed by Chen He's family, who seized their old house, leaving them completely homeless. Everything has settled, and I went to the cemetery holding flowers, looking at my parents' photos on the tombstone. My eyes welled up with tears. Mom, Dad, in my past life, I misjudged someone and handed over the inheritance to a scoundrel. Fortunately, with a second chance, I will definitely protect the company.